Sometime in the early morning, a glittery box sat on my chair with a tag that read, "For Mara, our system sorceress, keep shining." Inside was a plastic trophy shaped like a smiling sun and a booklet titled Radiate, a guide to warm professional presence. I stared at it while Paperkite Systems quietly tried to cough itself to death. My monitors showed payroll submissions piling up ahead of the quarter deadline. 3 state portals had pushed minor updates, which is government for, we changed everything and called it a patch. A new error signature pulsed red, Whirlwind 57, handshake mismatch. One of our oldest integrations was slipping, and I was the only person in the building who could tell the difference between a harmless warning and the first crack in the dam. Paperkite was a compliance platform for small businesses. We filed payroll forms, benefits enrollments, and the kind of reports that exist solely to prove your company is still alive. When our software worked, nobody noticed. When it failed, people screamed at their screens like the screens owed them child support. For years, I had been the quiet scaffolding. I built redundancy no one requested. I wrote emergency scripts and hid them in corners like spare keys. I patched legacy code that everyone avoided because it smelled like burnt history. Then our founder, Harold Rourke, announced his retirement, and his son replaced him. Dylan Rourke arrived with a ring light and a smile untouched by overtime. He walked past the server room like it was a museum exhibit and went straight to marketing. By lunchtime, he was on a company-wide call announcing a fresh era. "We are not just a compliance company," Dylan said. "We are a feelings company that happens to file forms." His words landed like confetti, bright, sticky, and impossible to sweep away. His first initiative launched the next Monday, Sunbeam Stand-Ups. Every morning, everyone had to join a video call, share a bright spot, and nominate a sparkler of the day. Cameras on, faces visible, warmth performed. I kept my camera off, not out of rebellion, out of practicality. My face does not improve server latency. Dylan leaned toward his webcam like he was interviewing me for television. "Mara, we have not seen your face yet. We want to know our heroes." "I am repairing Whirlwind 57, I replied, still typing. "If I turn on my camera, your hero will be a woman threatening a load balancer." Polite laughter rippled across the call, the kind that protects paychecks. Dylan grinned as if I had performed a trick. "Love the spice. We will get you warmed up." An hour later, HR sent me an invite titled Optional Glow Coaching. The attachment was Radiate Again, now decorated with stock photos of people hugging laptops. I declined. Minutes later, my manager, Nina Park, messaged, "Just humor it. He is making lists." That afternoon, I passed the executive suite and saw a whiteboard covered in thick marker. Human first, camera on, smiles scale, underlined 3 times like a curse. I returned to my desk and opened a private note file labeled Weather. I typed one line. Entry 1. Camera pressure. Public callout. HR coaching invite. I did not plan revenge yet. I planned options. Because while Dylan chased warmth, Whirlwind 57 kept blinking, and Paperkite's infrastructure hummed with a rhythm I did not trust. That night, alone with the server hum, I began building something I had never needed before. A quiet door out. Sunbeam stand-ups multiplied like mold. Soon there was a weekly Glow review, where Dylan rated team energy and called it leadership. He loved phrases that sounded like scented candles, human forward execution, emotional throughput. I kept my head down and kept the platform alive. The compliance world did not care about Dylan's warmth. A federal payroll gateway started throttling requests. One state portal began returning success codes while dropping payloads. Every fix I made bought Paperkite another day, and every day Dylan acted like uptime came from gratitude. During one Glow review, he shared a slide titled Visibility Wins. It was a grid of smiling headshots. In the bottom corner was my name under a gray square. Dylan sighed. No more blank boxes, no more ghosts. We need warmth, not server goblins. The room laughed with him, not because it was funny, because laughter protects paychecks. After the call, HR messaged about presence coaching. Leadership wanted my impact to be felt. I added another line to my private file. Entry 2. Ghost comment. Server goblin label. I started saving everything: screenshots, policy shifts, rewritten metrics that now included vibe participation. Dylan loved measuring feelings because feelings did not argue back with log files. Meanwhile, I built what I privately called my quiet door out. I named it Gullwing Gate. Officially, it was a resilience layer that preserved customer payloads when portals misbehaved. If a queue stalled, Gullwing Gate could route submissions through a parallel channel and keep users from losing work. It was not a trap. It was insurance. One morning, sometime after the office settled into its daily theater, a calendar invite appeared from Dylan. Quick sync. No agenda. No HR. Just him, me, and a glass conference room. He was already seated. A folder sat on the table with my name printed in a font that cost more than my shoes. Mara, Dylan began, we have been evaluating how to position PaperKite for its next phase. With the app launch and the funding roadshow, he said, we are pivoting toward a more relational ethos. We need leaders who inspire. You are firing me, I said. He flinched. I would call it a recalibration. Recalibration away from functioning infrastructure, I replied. Your output is strong, he said. It is your brand, your energy. People do not connect with you. I write backend logic, I said. I do not host a morning show. Dylan tapped the folder. 2 weeks paid transition, severance. All we need is a handoff. Your emergency protocols, your queue rules, your resilience work. We want you to set Evan up for success. Evan Pike from marketing, I repeated. Dylan nodded. Fast learner. No, I said. His smile snapped. Excuse me? I will not train Evan, I replied. I will not compress 8 years of scar tissue into bullet points for a man who thinks a port is a kind of wine. Dylan leaned forward. Do not make this difficult. You already did, I said, when you decided my face mattered more than my work. Silence filled the glass box. Dylan pulled the folder back. Then we will make this effective immediately. No thank you, no goodbye, just a locked badge and a polite escort. I walked out past the posters about teamwork and into the elevator with my bag and my notes. They thought they had removed a ghost. What they did not realize was that Gullwing Gate already existed, and the only key to open it was not in their office. It was with me. My apartment was quiet in the way offices never are. No fluorescent buzz, no forced laughter, no Dylan declaring that authenticity was mandatory. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the soft click of my laptop opening. I logged into my own monitoring board, the one I had kept in parallel for years because executive dashboards are designed for comfort, not truth. Mine watched queue depth, connector latency, portal response patterns, and one private heartbeat: Gullwing Gate readiness. For a few days, everything stayed calm, which is another word for the cliff is still a few steps away. The quarter deadline was inching closer, and the usual surge was beginning to gather, invisible but heavy, like storm air. Then, sometime in the early afternoon, my screen blinked amber. Connector jitter was rising. Not catastrophic, not yet. The Federal Payroll Gateway had adjusted its rate limits again, and PaperKite's outbound layer was compensating badly. The system was pretending to be fine while quietly sweating. My phone buzzed with a text from Nina. Do you still have notes on connector retrees? She asked. Dylan says it is probably internet vibes, but the charts look weird. I stared at the message, opened weather, and added a line. Entry 3. First post-exit jitter. Leadership blaming atmosphere. I did not reply. I was not being cruel. I was being consistent. Paperkite had decided my work mattered less than my face. Now they could live inside that decision. The next morning, around the time people start pretending they enjoy oatmeal, Paperkite went live with a broadcast. The title read, Kitecast, The Future Feels Easy. Dylan was incapable of doing anything without filming it. Dylan sat under studio lights on a fake leather couch. Evan Pike sat beside him, nodding like a dashboard ornament. Behind them, a green screen showed animated kites floating over a skyline of paperwork. Today we unveil Kite Pocket, Dylan announced, a companion designed for warmth, simplicity, and trust. Evan added something about synergy. I muted him with my soul. They flipped through slides full of stock photos and adjectives. No connector maps, no failure modes, just smiles. Then a red banner flashed behind Evan's shoulder on a production monitor, visible for a blink before someone covered it. Gullwing. Cue back pressure. Manual auth required. Evan did not notice. Dylan kept smiling. I paused the video and replayed it. I zoomed in until the pixels looked like glitter. The banner was real. Gullwing Gate was trying to engage. It was detecting the early stages of a connector stall. It was asking for the one thing no one at Paperkite had: authorization. I opened my incident mirror, a read-only feed that still posted to my private webhook because no one had ever audited it. Messages were trickling in. Anyone seeing submission lag? A junior engineer wrote. Portal says success, but customers report missing confirmations, someone else added. Evan replied with a thumbs-up emoji. A minute later, Samir Patel, one of the few engineers who had ever asked real questions, messaged me. Are you watching this? He wrote. We keep seeing a Gullwing prompt and nobody knows what it is. Dylan thinks it is a legacy banner. I typed, deleted, typed again. Do not panic yet, I sent. He answered instantly. That is not comforting. It is accurate, I replied. On the stream, Dylan raised his arms as if applause could patch a gateway. We are building trust, he said. On my dashboard, latency continued to creep upward, slow and steady, like water behind a dam. Gullwing Gate was awake, and Paperkite was still filming. The failure did not arrive with fireworks. It arrived with lag. Around the time the city started buzzing with late-week urgency, Paperkite's queues stopped draining smoothly. Customers saw spinning wheels. Support saw tickets. Engineers saw alarms. Dylan saw an opportunity to post about resilience. In the incident mirror, the tone shifted fast. Submission confirmations missing. Connector retries stuck in a loop. Then, all caps. What is Gullwing, and why is it asking for manual auth? Dylan joined the channel with the confidence of a man who thinks confidence is a tool. Sounds like the cloud is moody, he typed. Let us reboot the fleet and breathe. We are human first. A few people reacted with hearts. Someone replied carefully that reboots did not fix outbound throttling. Dylan ignored that and asked if anyone could make the error banner friendlier. Paperkite tried the usual rituals. They restarted services. They flushed caches. They blamed a vendor. Evan suggested rolling back the interface to lighten the vibe. Somebody actually tried it. Customers started posting screenshots on social media. Spinning wheels, missing confirmations, support chats that ended in apologies. The deadline surge kept climbing anyway, because deadlines do not care about your brand refresh. My dashboard showed the truth. Outbound throttling was escalating, and the backlog was turning into a wall. Gullwing Gate attempted to engage. It tried again. Each attempt ended with the same demand: manual auth required. That was the key in my pocket. My phone began to buzz. First HR. Quick question about Gullwing. Could you hop on a call? Then Nina. Please, it is getting bad. Then Samir. They are trying to brute force it. Dylan thinks it is a permissions glitch. I watched the incident channel fill with desperation. Someone posted a terminal command failing. Someone asked if there was a Gullwing password. Evan replied with a thumbs-up emoji. I almost laughed, but laughter requires oxygen. Then Dylan called. I let it ring out. His voicemail arrived, breathless. Mara, we need your help. Customers cannot submit. There is a gullwing thing, and we just need you to reset it. I played it once and opened weather. Entry 4. First plea. HR politeness. CEO panic. Then I opened an email thread from earlier that week with Ridge Harbor Systems. They were not flashy, no ring lights, just engineers with clean documentation. They offered me a role, root access, and respect without performance art. I had accepted. Their platform, Harbor Run, could ingest customer exports from competitors. I had helped refine that importer on my first week because revenge is best served as compatibility. I did not want small businesses to suffer because Dylan had an ego allergy. Customers deserved a way out. So I sent one message to Samir. Export payloads from the pending queue, I wrote. Use the Harbor Run migration packet. Tell support to offer an export path. Do not touch Gullwing. He replied, Dylan will lose his mind. Dylan built his mind out of marketing, I wrote. It will survive. In the incident channel, support started sharing export instructions. Engineers grumbled, then complied. Nina sent me a 2-word message. Thank you. Dylan texted next. We can pay you. Name your number. I typed one sentence and sent it. Gullwing requires manual authorization. Only I can provide it. I did not add the second sentence I wanted to add. You made sure of that. Outside my window, evening settled in. Somewhere, owners were trying to run payroll while Paperkite's screens spun like coins about to drop. In my pocket, the key stayed warm. And on my screen, Ridge Harbor's dashboard stayed green. The next day, the story left the engineering channels and entered the world where people pretend they understand technology. A business reporter posted screenshots of stalled submissions and support chats that ended in apologies. Someone leaked an internal message where Dylan blamed unexpected cloud temperament. The internet treated that phrase like a chew toy. Inside the incident mirror, Paperkite's engineers kept fighting, but the fight had a ceiling. Without Gullwing authorization, the system could not open its parallel route. It could only queue, retry, and hope the portals forgave it. Portals do not forgive. Dylan tried to regain control the only way he knew: optics. He scheduled an emergency warmth update and went live from the office with a ring light and a careful smile. He promised radical transparency. The stream stuttered and died because the same congestion choking submissions was also choking his performance. My phone rang again. Nina, voice low. They are offering you a consultant contract, she said. They want you to authorize Gullwing and walk them through it. I looked at the key on my table, small and unglamorous, and more powerful than Dylan's entire vocabulary. Did they also want an apology? I asked. Nina exhaled. He says you are being difficult. He fired me for being quiet, I said. I am not coming back, but keep pushing exports. Tell Samir to protect data integrity, not ego. Nina whispered, Thank you, and hung up like gratitude might summon another meeting. At Ridge Harbor, we had prepared for this. Our importer scaled. Our queues stayed elastic. Harbor Run accepted migration packets all day and kept accepting them. By evening, our dashboard showed thousands of businesses safely through, not because we were magical, but because we respected the boring parts that keep people paid. Paperkite's consequences arrived in waves. Clients announced they were switching. A partner bank paused integration. A board statement mentioned leadership realignment, which is corporate for "we found the smoke and blamed the match." Sometime later, Dylan resigned. He posted a farewell note about learning and connection. The comments were off. In the days that followed, my inbox filled with quiet messages from former coworkers. Not demands, not panic. Apologies that arrived late but still mattered. A few asked if I would ever share the Gullwing design. I told them the truth. It was never a secret, just buried under meetings. Samir messaged me from his personal number. They finally found the old docs, he wrote. You wrote them. They were buried under the culture folder. Of course they were, I replied. Are you happy? He asked. I stared at the question longer than I expected. I am free, I wrote back. Happiness is a bonus feature. A little later, I walked into Ridge Harbor's office as something other than a ghost. No ring lights, no beanbags, just a whiteboard filled with actual diagrams, and a team that asked me about failure modes instead of my facial expression. On my new badge, my title was simple: Systems Lead. Not sorceress, not goblin, not ghost. Lead. That night, I opened Weather one last time and typed a final line. Entry 5. They wanted warmth. I gave them a forecast. Then I deleted the file, because I did not need evidence anymore. The next morning, my coffee tasted different, like it had finally stopped carrying someone else's panic. I started drafting a resilience toolkit for Ridge Harbor, not to haunt the past, but to make the future harder to break. The verdict had already been delivered by the only judge that matters in software: reality. And reality, unlike Dylan, never smiles for the camera.